We've all had those moments, haven't we, where life feels off. It's like you're walking through a movie set where everything looks familiar, but the script isn't quite right. You feel disconnected, like you're out of sync with the world around you. But what if that strange sensation isn't just in your mind? What if you've slipped into a parallel reality? Yes, you heard me right, a parallel reality, a different version of the world you once knew, but one where things have subtly shifted. As chosen ones, you're more attuned to these shifts, more sensitive to the flow of energy between dimensions. And sometimes, without knowing it, you get stuck in a version of reality that isn't aligned with your highest path. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like no matter what you do, things aren't falling into place? You're putting in the effort, trying to live with intention, but it's as if an invisible force is holding you back. It feels like you're swimming upstream, fighting a current that you can't even see. If this resonates with you, you might be stuck in a parallel reality. But how do you know for sure? Well, there are signs, negative signs, that reveal when you've slipped into one of these alternate realities. And today, we're going to explore those signs together, because awareness is the first step in breaking free. The first sign: you feel disconnected from your purpose. It's like you've lost touch with that inner fire, that sense of knowing why you're here. You once had such clarity about your mission, about the impact you were meant to make in the world. But lately it feels distant. You're going through the motions, but your heart isn't in it. You wake up in the morning, and instead of feeling excited about the day ahead, there's this dull sense of obligation. You're doing things because you have to, not because you want to. And that's the thing: when you're aligned with your true reality, your actions feel purposeful. There's a sense of flow, a sense of alignment with something greater than yourself. But when you're stuck in a parallel reality, that connection is severed. You're living someone else's life, following someone else's script.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
Think back to a time when you felt deeply connected to your purpose. How did it feel? And now, contrast that with how you feel today. If there's a huge gap between those two states, it's a sign that something has shifted. Your soul is trying to tell you that you're not where you're supposed to be. Another sign that you're stuck in a parallel reality is this constant feeling of déjà vu, but in a disorienting way. It's not the familiar, comforting kind of déjà vu, where you feel like you're in the right place at the right time. No, this is different. It's the kind that makes you feel like you're repeating the same patterns over and over again, as if you're trapped in a loop. You keep encountering the same obstacles, the same setbacks, the same toxic relationships. It's like no matter how hard you try to move forward, you keep getting pulled back into the same situations. You've outgrown these experiences, but they keep showing up, almost like the universe is glitching. Now, here's something to reflect on: what patterns in your life feel like they're on repeat. Be honest with yourself. Are you attracting the same type of people who drain your energy? Are you finding yourself in jobs that don't fulfill you, no matter how many times you switch careers? Every time you try to break free, it feels like you're pulled back into the same old cycle. That's what happens when you're stuck in a reality that isn't your own. The energy there is stagnant, and it keeps you trapped in loops of repetition, preventing you from evolving. The third negative sign that you're stuck in a parallel reality is that everything feels artificial. It's hard to explain, but you know it when you feel it. It's like the world around you has lost its vibrancy, its authenticity. People seem more disconnected, more robotic. Conversations feel shallow, like everyone's just going through the motions. The colors of the world seem muted, and even the things that once brought you joy feel hollow. It's as if the very fabric of reality has thinned, and you're seeing behind the curtain. You're seeing the illusion for what it is. When you're in your true reality, things feel rich, alive, full of meaning. There's a depth to your interactions with others. You feel like the universe is speaking to you through synchronicities, guiding you along your path. But when you're stuck in a parallel reality, it's like the magic is gone. You're living in a world of shadows where nothing feels real. Let me ask you, when was the last time you felt truly alive? I mean, really alive, where everything around you felt full of possibility, full of energy. If it's been a long time, it's possible that you've disconnected from your true path, and you've slipped into a version of reality that's a pale imitation of the real thing. Another sign, one that's especially unsettling, is the feeling of time distortion. You're either racing through time, where days blur into each other, and you can't even remember what you did yesterday, or time feels painfully slow, like you're stuck in molasses. One minute, you feel like the whole year has passed you by in the blink of an eye, and the next, you're wondering why the days feel so long and drawn out. Time isn't behaving normally, and here's the thing: time is fluid. When you're in alignment with your true reality, time flows in harmony with you. You don't feel rushed or slowed down. You're in sync with the rhythm of the universe. But when you're stuck in a parallel reality, that rhythm is disrupted. Time becomes distorted because you're not where you're supposed to be. Your soul is out of sync with the timeline you're meant to follow. Have you ever had that feeling where you look at the clock and you're shocked by how much time has passed? Or conversely, you check the time and it feels like hours should have gone by, but only minutes have passed. These are signs that you're not fully present in the version of reality that's meant for you. Finally, there's the feeling of isolation. Even when you're surrounded by people, you feel alone. It's as if there's an invisible barrier between you and the rest of the world. You see people connecting, laughing, living their lives, but it feels like you're on the outside looking in. You can't quite tap into that energy, that sense of belonging. No matter how hard you try to engage, there's a part of you that feels disconnected, separate. This isn't just a social thing, it's spiritual. When you're stuck in a parallel reality, it's like you've been cut off from the collective energy of the universe. You're walking through life, but you feel like a ghost, unseen and unheard. So, let me ask you, do you feel like you're living in a world where you don't quite belong? If so, this could be the clearest sign that you're stuck in a reality that isn't aligned with your soul's path. If everything we've discussed so far resonates with you, the disconnection, the déjà vu, the artificiality, the time distortion, the isolation, there's a good chance you're stuck in a parallel reality. But here's the good news: you don't have to stay there. The very fact that you're aware of these signs means you're already waking up to the possibility of shifting back into alignment with your true reality. And once you're awake, you can consciously choose how to move forward. So how do you break free? How do you snap out of a reality that's not aligned with your highest self and step back into the flow of your true path? The first step is awareness, and we've already started that process. You've recognized the signs that your life has taken a detour into an alternate version of reality. But awareness alone isn't enough. Awareness is the key that opens the door, but you still have to walk through it. And walking through that door requires intention and action. Let me ask you a deep question. Are you ready to let go of the reality you're currently living in? This might sound like a strange question, but think about it. As much as you might dislike the feeling of being stuck, there's a part of you that's become comfortable with it. After all, it's familiar, and as humans, we tend to cling to the familiar, even when it's not serving us. So the first step in breaking free from the parallel reality is to acknowledge that, on some level, you've been holding on to it. And now, you need to make the conscious decision to let it go. Once you've made that decision, the next step is to reconnect with your true self. When you're stuck in a parallel reality, it's easy to lose sight of who you really are. You start to identify with the version of yourself that exists in that reality, instead of the true, infinite self that exists beyond all realities. So how do you reconnect with your true self? Through silence, stillness, and introspection. Take time each day to sit in silence and reflect. This doesn't have to be complicated. Find a quiet space, close your eyes, and focus on your breath. As you sit in stillness, allow yourself to go inward. Ask yourself, who am I, beyond the roles I play, beyond the expectations of others, beyond the distractions of this world? You don't need to come up with an answer right away. Just sit with the question. Allow it to marinate in your mind. Over time, answers will begin to emerge not in words, but in feelings, in sensations, in intuitive nudges. The more you connect with your inner self, the more you'll begin to see the disconnect between who you truly are and the reality you've been living in. The next step is to raise your vibration. When you're stuck in a parallel reality, your energy is out of alignment with your true path. You're vibrating at a frequency that's inconsistent with the reality you want to manifest. To shift out of that parallel reality, you need to raise your vibration and align with the version of reality that reflects your highest potential. This means allowing yourself to feel emotions that elevate you: joy, gratitude, love, excitement, and peace. One of the simplest ways to raise your vibration is to practice gratitude. Every day, take a few moments to reflect on the things you're grateful for. Even if your current reality feels off, there's always something to be grateful for. It could be as simple as the air you breathe, the sun shining on your face, or the fact that you have the awareness to shift your reality. As you practice gratitude, you'll start to notice a shift in your energy. You'll begin to feel lighter, more expansive, and as your energy shifts, so will your reality. Another powerful way to raise your vibration is through movement. When you're stuck in a parallel reality, your energy becomes stagnant. You feel heavy, weighed down by the energy of the world around you. Moving your body helps to release that stagnant energy and raise your vibration. This doesn't have to be complicated, just move in a way that feels good to you. Dance, stretch, walk in nature, do yoga, whatever allows you to reconnect with your body and shift your energy. Now, let's talk about intention. Once you've raised your vibration, it's important to set a clear intention for the reality you want to step into. Remember, you are the creator of your reality. You have the power to choose which version of reality you want to experience. So, take some time to get clear on what you want. Ask yourself, what does my ideal reality look like? Who am I in that reality? What kind of experiences am I having? What kind of people am I surrounded by? Be as specific as possible. The more clearly you can visualize your ideal reality, the easier it will be to shift into it. But here's the key: once you've set your intention, let it go. Don't obsess over it. Don't constantly check to see if your reality is shifting. Trust that the universe is working behind the scenes to bring your intention into form. This is where the power of surrender comes in. You've done your part by setting the intention and raising your vibration. Now, it's time to surrender and trust that the universe will guide you to the reality that's meant for you. Finally, surround yourself with high vibration people and environments. When you're stuck in a parallel reality, the energy of the people and places around you can reinforce that reality. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, fear, and doubt, it's going to be much harder to shift into a higher reality. So take inventory of the people and environments in your life. Are they supporting your growth, or are they keeping you stuck? If you find that certain relationships or environments are dragging you down, it might be time to create some distance. Seek out people and places that uplift you, that inspire you, that remind you of the infinite possibilities available to you. Let me ask you, are you willing to let go of the things, people, and environments that are keeping you stuck in a lower reality? This can be one of the hardest steps, but it's also one of the most powerful. When you create space for higher vibration energy to enter your life, you open the door for new opportunities, new relationships, and new experiences that are aligned with your highest path. Breaking free from a parallel reality is not an overnight process. It takes time, intention, and commitment. But the more you practice these steps, the more you'll find yourself aligning with the version of reality that reflects your true self, the version where you feel connected, purposeful, and alive. Now that you understand how to break free from a parallel reality, the next challenge is learning how to stay aligned with your true reality. Because let's face it, life is full of distractions, and it's all too easy to slip back into old patterns that pull you out of alignment. But here's the thing, alignment isn't something that happens once, and then you're set for life. It's a continuous practice, a daily commitment to staying attuned to the vibration of your highest self. So today, we're going to dive into how you can maintain that alignment, how you can stay rooted in your true reality, no matter what's happening around you. The first thing to understand about alignment is that it's not just about your thoughts or your emotions, it's about your energy. Everything in the universe is made up of energy, and that includes you. When you're aligned with your true reality, your energy is in harmony with the flow of the universe. Things seem to fall into place effortlessly. You're in the right place at the right time. You attract the right people, the right opportunities, and everything feels expansive. But when you're out of alignment, everything feels like a struggle. You're constantly pushing, trying to force things to happen, but they just don't. It's like walking through mud instead of floating down a river. So the question is, how do you stay in that flow? How do you keep your energy in harmony with your true reality? One of the most powerful ways to stay aligned is through self-awareness. You've probably heard this before, but it bears repeating. You can't change what you're not aware of. So, throughout your day, make a habit of checking in with yourself. Ask yourself, how do I feel right now? Is my energy light and expansive, or is it heavy and contracted? This simple act of tuning into your inner state can provide you with valuable insights about whether you're in alignment or not. When you notice that your energy feels off, maybe you're feeling anxious, frustrated, or disconnected, that's your cue to pause and realign. It's not about judging yourself or getting frustrated that you've fallen out of alignment. It's about using that awareness as an opportunity to shift. One of the most effective ways to realign your energy when it feels off is through breathwork. Your breath is a direct link to your energy. When your energy is scattered or stagnant, your breath is usually shallow and erratic. But when you consciously deepen your breath, you calm your nervous system and bring your energy back into balance. Take a deep breath with me right now. Inhale slowly, hold it for a few seconds, and then exhale fully. Notice how just one deep breath can shift your entire state of being. Now imagine what would happen if you made deep, conscious breathing a regular practice throughout your day. Every time you feel yourself slipping out of alignment, pause, take a few deep breaths, and come back to the present moment. This is one of the simplest, yet most powerful tools for staying aligned with your true reality. Another key to staying aligned is following your intuition. Your intuition is like a compass that constantly guides you toward your highest path. But here's the problem: most of us are taught to ignore our intuition in favor of logic and reason. We're conditioned to make decisions based on what makes sense on paper, rather than what feels right in our hearts. But when you're aligned with your true reality, your intuition becomes your most valuable guide. It's that quiet inner voice that nudges you in the right direction, even when it doesn't make logical sense. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you made a decision purely based on your intuition? Not because it was the right thing to do, but because it felt right. The more you trust and follow your intuition, the more you'll find yourself aligned with the flow of life. You'll start to notice synchronicities, those seemingly random events that are actually the universe's way of guiding you. You'll meet the right people, stumble upon the right opportunities, and things will unfold in ways you couldn't have planned or predicted. But here's the thing: your intuition speaks in whispers, not in shouts. If your mind is constantly cluttered with thoughts, worries, and distractions, you won't be able to hear it. That's why it's so important to create space for stillness and silence in your life. Whether it's through meditation, journaling, or simply sitting quietly in nature, find a practice that allows you to tune out the noise of the world and tune into the voice of your soul. Staying aligned with your true reality also means surrounding yourself with high-vibration people. We've talked about this before, but it's worth diving deeper into. The people you surround yourself with have a profound impact on your energy. If you're constantly around people who are negative, judgmental, or stuck in old patterns, it's going to pull you out of alignment. On the other hand, when you're around people who inspire you, uplift you, and challenge you to grow, your energy naturally rises to meet theirs. So, take a look at the people in your life. Are they helping you stay aligned with your true reality, or are they keeping you stuck in a version of reality that no longer serves you? This can be a tough question to ask, but it's necessary. If you find that certain relationships are draining your energy or keeping you stuck in lower vibrations, it might be time to create some distance. This doesn't mean you have to cut people out of your life entirely, but it does mean being mindful of how much time and energy you're investing in relationships that aren't aligned with your highest good. Finally, staying aligned with your true reality requires trust and surrender. This might be the hardest part for most of us. We're wired to want control, to want certainty, to know exactly how things are going to unfold. But the truth is, alignment requires trust in the universe, trust in the process, and trust in yourself. When things aren't going the way you expected, it's easy to fall into doubt and fear. But that's when you need to surrender the most. Trust that the universe is always guiding you, even when the path isn't clear. Trust that everything is unfolding in divine timing, even if you can't see the full picture yet. Let me ask you, are you willing to let go of the need to control every detail of your life and trust that the universe has a plan for you? This trust is the foundation of alignment. When you trust the process, you're able to stay open, flexible, and in flow. You're not constantly fighting against the current, trying to force things to happen. Instead, you're allowing life to unfold in a way that's far more magical and aligned than anything you could have planned. Alignment is an ongoing journey. It's not about perfection, it's about practice. Every day you have the opportunity to tune back into your true reality, to realign with the flow of the universe, and to move through life with a sense of ease and grace. And the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. You'll start to recognize when you're slipping out of alignment, and you'll have the tools to bring yourself back. You'll trust the process, and you'll trust yourself. And that's when life truly becomes magical. At this point, you've gained a deeper understanding of how to break free from a parallel reality and how to stay aligned with your true self. But now, let's go even further, because the truth is, alignment isn't just about maintaining the status quo, it's about evolution. It's about constantly expanding into new levels of awareness, new levels of potential, and new levels of existence. So now, let's talk about how you can embrace the shift, not just to stay in alignment, but to evolve beyond the parallel reality and truly step into your highest potential. Evolution begins with a shift in your identity. Most of us have a fixed idea of who we are. We say things like, "I'm this kind of person," or "I'll never be able to do that." But the truth is, you are not a fixed being. You are fluid, ever-changing, and infinitely capable of growth. The version of yourself that you are today does not define the version of yourself that you can become. The problem is, when you're stuck in a parallel reality, you tend to identify with the limitations of that reality. You start to believe that you're limited by your circumstances, your past, or your environment. But none of those things define you. They are simply reflections of the reality you've been living in. So, here's the first question to ask yourself: who are you becoming? Not who you've been, not who you are right now, but who are you evolving into? What version of yourself is waiting to emerge? This is a powerful question because it shifts your focus from the past to the future. It invites you to step into a new identity, one that aligns with your highest potential. And the moment you start to embody that new identity, you begin to create a new reality around you. But here's the key: you have to release the old version of yourself to make space for the new one. This can be challenging because we tend to hold on to our old identities, even when they no longer serve us. We say things like, "This is just the way I am," or "I've always been like this." But that's just a story you've been telling yourself based on the reality you've experienced. And if you want to evolve, you have to be willing to let go of that story. You have to be willing to step into the unknown, into the version of yourself that you've never been before. Now, let's talk about resistance. Whenever you're on the verge of a big breakthrough, resistance will show up. It's part of the process. Your mind will start to doubt, to question, to come up with all the reasons why you can't change, why you can't evolve. Resistance is that voice that says, "What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if I lose everything?" But here's the thing: resistance is a sign that you're on the right path. It means you're stepping outside of your comfort zone. And that's exactly where you need to be if you want to evolve. So, when resistance shows up, don't run from it. Don't let it stop you. Acknowledge it, but don't give it power. Understand that resistance is just your mind's way of trying to protect you from the unknown. But the unknown is where all the magic happens. The unknown is where your highest potential lies. So instead of resisting the resistance, lean into it. Embrace the discomfort of growth. Because on the other side of that discomfort is a new version of yourself, a version that's more powerful, more aligned, and more capable than you've ever been before. Another important aspect of evolving beyond the parallel reality is deepening your connection to your soul. You are not just a physical being living in a physical world. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. And when you start to live from this place, when you start to prioritize your soul's evolution over the superficial desires of the ego, that's when everything starts to shift. Your soul knows the way. It knows exactly what you need to do to evolve. But the problem is, we often get so caught up in the noise of the world that we forget to listen. So, Let me ask you, how often do you take time to connect with your soul? How often do you quiet your mind and listen to the voice of your intuition, the voice of your higher self? If you're constantly distracted by the external world, it becomes almost impossible to hear that inner guidance. That's why it's so important to create space for stillness and reflection in your life. Whether it's through meditation, journaling, or simply spending time in nature, find a practice that allows you to connect with your soul on a deeper level. The more you tune into that inner guidance, the more aligned you'll be with your highest potential. Evolution is not a destination, it's a continuous journey. It's about constantly expanding, constantly growing, and constantly stepping into new versions of yourself. And the more you embrace that journey, the more you'll find yourself evolving beyond the limitations of the parallel reality and stepping into the fullness of your true potential.